Welcome to UC Davis. We are known for our many bikes, our many ducks, and the plant collection in the Arboretum.
This is the Stafford Lake, and this acts as a water retention basin.
It was once the North Fork of Stafford Lake, which ran through the campus. It has been modified over the years for flood control. The Army Corps of Engineers diverted the South Channel, cutting off this portion of the creek, irrevocably altering the natural ecology of the ecosystem. Today, this reservoir acts as a stormwater runoff collection basin for UC Davis.
The water becomes highly enriched with nitrogen and phosphorus from urban runoff, but other sources that contribute nutrient loading can be agricultural runoff and untreated sewage. Compounds from as far away as Asia, though, have been noted in the California water supply. Combined with sunlight, this increased biological production causes excess algae growth, bloom, and decay. The rotting algae promotes harmful bacteria growth. The water becomes cloudy, a sign of oxygen depletion in the water, also referred to as hypoxia. This creates sudden and large fish kills and affects other aquatic life, while stifling the growth of more complex plants. The algae itself is toxic to humans and animals. Taken together, these impacts interrupt the natural energy flow that sustains the surrounding ecosystem.
The eutrophic condition kills fishes every summer. That is so bad. We don't want to see this anymore.
Another problem is the loss of our groundwater. In Davis, typical groundwater level has been 100 feet. More recently, the school has had to dig down to 300 feet to get its water supply. The surrounding foothills are rich in boron salts. With the water level so low, boron and salts are getting concentrated. Irrigated plants are starting to show signs of leaf burn. In the surrounding agricultural area, the water is high in nitrogen, so high in fact that children and lactating moms cannot drink it safely. So dairy cows can't drink it either.
It's a question of context and design. What is the climate? What is the rainfall regime? What is the need in terms of cleaning water, in terms of storing water, in terms of irrigating other things, restoring habitat, other types of local needs? So that's all context stuff. And then the design will flow from the context.
So what design interventions can be made on the urban landscape to alleviate these problems? Rain gardens. Rain gardens catch water that runs off roofs, pavements, driveways, and other impervious surfaces. Rain gardens delay and filter surface runoff while increasing the amount of water that infiltrates into the ground.
The problem with impervious surfaces is that it increases the amount of water that ends up flowing into the storm drain system and being delivered to that natural creek. That causes downcutting, erosion of the bed of that creek, and a whole series of other ecological problems that result from that increased amount of water that's not infiltrating in your site, but ending up in your creek. All of these impervious surfaces collect pollutants, especially in a Mediterranean climate, and those pollutants are then transported via the storm drain system and end up in our creeks and our wetlands in toxic amounts. So if we can keep that rain from that runoff from going into the storm drain system in the first place, that would be optimal, and that's why we like rain gardens, to capture that excess runoff.
Widespread use of rain gardens in the urban environment can play a valuable role in urban stormwater management. Essentially, rain gardens are aesthetically pleasing miniature water treatment plants.
If you look at a map of the city of Davis, 80 or 90% of it's residential. And so if you're really going to make an impact, citywide on stormwater thing, every home has to be able to collect water. And that would be a very low technology stuff, but your backyard probably needs a swale somewhere that collects water, and the front yard probably needs a swale. I mean, if you could do that across a city, and imagine the amount of water you would store.
Here at the UC Davis Law School, in the recent construction, they allowed the roof to collect water. The water comes down these gutters and spills into what is the first swale. It's filled with gravel, so it has more pore space to collect the water, and it allows the water to percolate into the ground. These reeds take up any pollutants that might be in the water, so less water gets into the water stream later. The overflow goes over this little pinch and flows down this granite runnel. The granite runnel, in turn, flows down to the far end. Where you have a grate! The runnel funnels the water down to this grate, and this grate, if there's a big rain event, dumps excess water into Stanford Lake, which is our water collection reservoir just underneath this bridge where we're standing now. But looking back at the law school, you can see that there's a wide spectrum of catch pit basins planted with plant vegetation that will take up any toxins that's in the water so that less pollution gets into the retention basin.
At the new winery brewery, same thing. Every drop of rain is collected on that project. In that particular instance, it's interesting that the water is sucked up out of the pond and put into these cisterns, above ground cisterns. You've seen it from the freeway. So all that water, the site's been calculated so that there's enough water collected to irrigate the whole site during the whole year. Plus, I'm told, flush the toilets in that thing. So it's a gray water type of system. But
this is the wine building at UC Davis, and it's another example of a rain garden here. It's made for a more large-scale building, and around the building is a swale that collects the rainwater. When the rainwater gets to a certain level, the pumps kick on and pump the water into cisterns that are kept on the backside of the building. So because this is an arid Mediterranean climate, they've specially selected these plants so that they can withstand the winter months, but then they also don't need a lot of water during the summer. So irrigation is needed during the drier months here to keep the plants alive. Here in the back of the building, there's water tanks that store all the water from the rainy season. And during the summer season, it's used as gray water for flushing toilets inside the building and also irrigating all of the exterior plants. Around the exterior and the perimeter of the building, there are curb cutouts that allow the runoff from the parking lots and impervious pavement to run through these rocks into the vegetation of the surrounding building. It helps filter the water. And the tap drips, drip, drip.